Now, I was at the point where some of us became uncomfortable, but I'm not here. I am not here to comfort the disturbed. Maybe even I am here to disturb those who are comfortable in an environment that is volatile. And I will bring this country, in spite of the glossy readings in this document, to a recognition that this document has said nothing about how government intends to spend its money to arrest, pardon the pun, the outbreak of crime in this country. And we've had to depend on one of the popular newspapers to highlight what has been happening in this country. And we were in shock. Peace and freedom-loving people in this country were shocked when they bought that paper on that Friday in question and saw 4 young men regaling its front page, speaking of a relationship with the government and saying that the government had entered into an agreement with them in Barbados that we love so much on this cherished land, honorable member. And those 4 young men were saying that they kept their side of the bargain. And honest fisher folk can't get a cent. And the people working in the administration of the public service can't get their jobs back. And the accountants who used to be working with the international business companies that left cannot find a job except that they may go to Canada or the United States or Britain and find one now. Good, honest, decent people in Barbados who did no wrong, not even any wrong to the government, were not complaining on the front page of the paper. And some 4 fellow citizens, they must be given their title, they're citizens. And they are fellow citizens. And they came on the front page of a paper to complain that government, and I'm going to use plain language now, there are no tricks in plain and simple faith, Shakespeare. And they came to complain that government owed them money for keeping the peace. And the nation could not understand it. And when I say the nation, I don't mean with a capital N. The nation, the people of this nation could not understand that this was happening on a Friday, a day of the week when we were supposed to be settling in to happy weekends. And you know, up to now, this government has not told the people of this country how much money it gave them. This government was paying people to keep the peace and underpaying police officers who keep the peace. And underpaying the adjunct police officers who also keep the peace. And there are many police officers in this country, not only are they underpaid, but they are not promoted according to their skills, talents, and experience, because we are weighted under by a colonial police system that denies them promotion. So we are treating policemen in this country. And 4 citizens, I won't abuse them, come on the front page of a Friday newspaper, possibly the most popular edition. Perhaps the Sunday one is more popular. But there's a reason why They placed them in Friday because they wanted maximum publicity for this public complaint against a government who they claim was refusing to support them. In case anyone thought that I was going to say government was supporting crime, I did not say that. I say that government was supporting them based on what they said. But if you're supporting them financially, and if you can't give the fisher folk to this day $3 million, did this government pay $7.5 million? This government, yes, this government. Did this government pay $7.5 million to a ministry to pay to fellow citizens who were complaining that government was in breach? And when was this treaty? When was this contract made between government and these citizens? And when was it made? And I'm going to speak legally now. When was it made at a consideration of possibly $7.5 million? And for what period was this $7.5 million paid? In this unholy treaty. Did this parliament condone it? Was a resolution brought to this parliament, as was the resolution brought today by the honorable member for Christchurch East Central? Did the public know that we were paying these fellow citizens? Points of order. Points of order. Points of order. Why the silence, government? Points of order, let me hear them. Let the people of Barbados hear that I am wrong in saying that this government was paying an element of fellow citizens, taxpayers' money. And let this government rise on a point of order to deny that the payment thus far had been in the amount of $7.5 million, while you paid the fisher folk $3 million. Points of order. The expert is absent, but we want some points of order. Clarify. Clarify, honorable members. Elucidate, honorable members. Accuse me of misleading the public, honorable members. Nary a word. But the front page of the Nation spoke volumes as to the activities of this government in the lives of fellow citizens. The effrontery, though, the effrontery, the brazen disregard for standards, the brazen disregard for a government that they feel that they can drag a government's name publicly into disclosure of an alliance in which they were paid taxpayers' money. In this republic, without a Republican constitution complete, everything is incomplete. And that alliance was also incomplete, and that's why they came to complain. And we have unemployed people in this country suffering. And fellow citizens. A group of fellow citizens were demanding their monies. I ask the people of this country, what moral judgment now can you make of this government? What moral judgment can you make of this government? And if there's any member who wishes to distance himself from that arrangement that government made, do so now. Points of order. Make your points of order now, or be fixed with collective responsibility for the action of having given comfort to an element of fellow citizens who feel that they now have the moral right to demand that the taxpayers' money be paid to them. Points of order. Points of order, ma'am. They're dead. They're sleeping. Are they ashamed? Well, the laughter from one says that he is neither asleep nor ashamed. But I will leave that topic, because that topic represents a blot on public affairs in this country that those fellow citizens felt that they could come on the front page in full view of the public, no faces hidden. Points of order. Was it $7.5 million or was it $17.5 million? Did I misread? Was my information correct? And since the story was published, have they received more? We don't know what is the travel bill, so why should we know what is the bill for them? They're not telling the people of Barbados anything. They don't tell us anything. And were it not for that front page, people in this country would have doubted that a government would reduce itself to those transactions. But then this is a transactional government. And any man who believes, or put differently, anytime the government believes that it has lost the support of any of its former supporters, open a transaction and reward him. And he doesn't have to be a high priest, nor does he have to be a decent working man or woman. He can be engaged in nefarious activity. Even for him, there's a transaction. Points of order. Points of order. How am I misleading the public? Point of order. But I have no doubt that the silence would indicate that there are those who will not take collective responsibility, because it is quite possible that some who sit in this chamber as parliamentarians do not know the numbers. And quite possibly, even they do not know that this transaction was made. Points of order. Not a word, because some of them do not know. That is how this government is managing its business. And worse, that is how this government is managing the people's money. Points of order.